Hey everybody, Joy here. Or should I say Jabba the Hutt? Let me take a sipper real quick. Oh, I can't tell you how good that feels. Oh, I have a voice right now, but I probably won't very long. My voice all day yesterday was horrible. The night before it was horrible. Early this morning, horrible. And I'm not sick. It's the craziest thing, and this is my opinion of what happened to my voice. I can't believe I can talk right now. It's amazing. This is my opinion. If you think I'm nuts, well, join the crowd. Yes, you know, Pumpkin Pants and his daddy Boo Bear were here. Oh, the funnest, most amazing, awesome time. That little boy and I, we just get along so good. He even said, "Grandma Joy, how come you call me Pumpkin Pants? What does that mean?" He's so stinking cute. But anyway, we went to a restaurant. I cooked the whole entire time. I made steaks, I made burgers, I made Mexican casserole. Well, the last night, which was Sunday night, the guys decided they wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse in Sherman, Texas, just to go somewhere. So that's fine with me, of course, anytime I don't have to cook. Well, to a certain degree. I don't like eating out for the most part, but if I'm tired and I've been cooking 3 meals a day, then yeah, and if we have company, sure. So we went to Texas Roadhouse. Well, Texas Roadhouse has these big margaritas, and John and Jerry both love these frozen margaritas. I do not like a frozen margarita. I like margarita on the rocks, but I didn't have one. I didn't have any. I don't like to drink them. I like a little bit, but they give you this huge cup. So I don't order one. So John and Jerry ordered a frozen margarita. And I told Jerry, I said, "I'll just have a few sips of yours, no big deal," because it's huge. So Jerry, of course, was next to me, and we're close. We're in a booth, and we're close, and Boo Bear and Pumpkin Pants are across from us. And so I'm talking to Pumpkin Pants. I mean, we're carrying on this conversation, right? This 5-year-old child in me. And so Jerry pushed his margarita over in front of me, and he said, "Here, you can take some sips of it." Well, it just sat there for a little bit, and I forgot it was there. It had a straw in it. And I had my glass of ice water in front of me with lemons in it. So I reached for a straw, and I'm still talking to Pumpkin Pants, looking at him across the table, and thinking it's my water glass. I took this big sip of this, and I didn't even realize it until I swallowed it, that it was the margarita, not my water. Oh my goodness. I could feel the ice slowly going down my esophagus. It stuck right here and froze me. It went up this way. I didn't swallow it up this way, but the ice cold went up this way to my eyeballs. My eyeballs were frozen. My throat was frozen. The lady came to take our order. I couldn't even talk to her. My throat was frozen. My chest was frozen. It was horrible. Finally, it settled down, and I could talk, and everything was fine. But then we got home, and then I went to bed, and suddenly it was like my throat just shut up, and my esophagus just shut up, and I could hardly breathe. And I was very congested, although nothing came up. I mean, I was congested. It's like I was all swollen shut, but I couldn't expel anything. So I slept, and I elevated my head, and I just made the most horrible noises all night. Jerry felt sorry for me. And then I woke up yesterday morning, and I had no voice at all. And you'll probably hear me here in a minute, because the more I talk, the more I'll lose my voice. And so I came out, and Pumpkin Pants and his daddy were getting ready to leave. And so they were at the bar having their breakfast, and I was over at the table having a cup of coffee. And Pumpkin Pants came over by me. I was talking to him, and he said, "Grandma Joy, you sound like Jabba the Hutt." Boy, I did. did. I looked like him, I sounded like him, I felt like him, I'm sure. It was horrible. So all day yesterday, I couldn't talk. Sometimes I could squeak like this. I couldn't talk all day yesterday, all night. My ears hurt, my throat hurt, my glands were swollen. But I slept pretty good through the night with my, I take this cough syrup at night. It's for nighttime Robitussin or something. And I took the regular dose of it, and I was able to sleep most of the night. So I woke up this morning, and I was up to sounding like Mickey Mouse this morning. And then just a little while ago, I came up here to look at what I did yesterday. And Jerry said something to me at the foot of the stairs, and I talked to him, and my voice came out. So I thought, hey, maybe I can make a video today. So that was a little break to check my phone. I'm starting to lose my voice again. It was the refrigerator repairman, Tim. He's been here 3 or 4 times already. Replaced 3 parts already, and none of them fixed our refrigerator. So he's ordered part number 4. It's been 3 weeks. It just came in yesterday. So that was him saying, we'll be there today. So we got the painters here this morning. There was a couple little things Jerry found in the garage that didn't get done right. And so they came right back, and they're fixing that. And still, the nicest. I did notice that they over-tightened the screw in one switch plate, and they cracked it. And that's what Jerry was at the bottom of the stairs. Do you want them to come up there and fix that switch plate? I said, no, don't even tell them about it. We can go buy a switch plate, for heaven's sakes. Oh, I can't tell you. Oh, so the freezing. So I totally lost my voice, right? I'm not sick. I had Jerry bring me a thermometer. I knew I wasn't sick. He brought me a thermometer, and my temperature was 97. So I figured I froze my whole body. I didn't even go up to normal temperature. So I know that what happened is I injured my esophagus. I injured it and my throat. And you know when you go to the skin doctor and they take that thing and they go psh, 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 and they squirt you with that ice? Well, it doesn't freeze you, it burns you. Well, I think what I did was burned my esophagus. I could be completely, totally, 100% wrong. It sure wouldn't be the first time or the last, but that's my theory. Tell me what y'all think. All right, so pumpkin pants. Let me tell you about my pumpkin pants. Cutest baby in the whole world. 5 years old. First thing we did was make sure he could write his name. Well, he couldn't really write it at first, but when I started showing him an L and a U and a K and an E, he knew what those letters were. And then he remembered that those were in his name. And so I taught him to say, my name is Luke, L-U-K-E. My name is Luke, L-U-K-E. And he said, I was teaching him to make sure he could write his name. And he said, Grandma Joy, I can count to 19. I said, no, you can't. He said, yes, I can. You want to hear me? I said, well, yes, I want to hear you. So he counted to 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19. Ah! I had to snug that boy's face half off for that one. So cute. But by the time he left, he could get to 13 and then go to 19. And no. He went to 13 and then 19 and then 31. Oh my goodness. You know, I just think it is a miracle of miracles that these little children learn to talk. You could be here in this room and speak Spanish to me for a year, and I don't think I would be able to repeat anything you said. No, I might be able to repeat it and say the words, but not know what it meant. I just think little children just have amazing brains, and if people would take the time to teach them more, they would be little geniuses. Oh, amazing how they learn. So he went fishing with his papa and his daddy out in the boat. And I didn't want to go. I said, can Grandma Joy just stay home? I said, let's just be the boys. Oh, the heat, 100 degrees. I did not want to go. I wasn't interested. I just want to stay home. So while I stayed home, let me take one more. Remember, the more I drink, the more I can talk to y'all. Behind me, now you know my Boo Bear was born July 4th. You know all the fireworks are for him and his birthday, right? So I decided I wanted to finish a patriotic quilt, and I have two of them. This was one of them, and I got it finished. They were fishing all day, probably 6 or 7 hours. And so I had this done except for the binding and the hanging sleeve on the back of it. And so I got the binding cut out and starched and sewn together and put on, and the hanging sleeve put on the back while they were fishing. So, and the air conditioner in here blows in just such a way that it makes it look like the waving flag is really waving. I'm sure you can see it. Oh, awesome. So, and of course this is a panel. Boo Bear asked me, he said, you didn't put those eagles on there, did you? I said, no, it's just a panel. And I quilted it very, very lightly because I wanted the panel to be the focus. I didn't want my quilting to be the focus. So you want me to get, so you get out of the way, Joy. I'll get out of the way. Let me move my chair. Can you see the whole thing now? I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can. So that's the whole thing. So then, what happened next? I was able, oh, this was just yesterday. They were gone. They'd gone home. So yesterday, I took some pictures for you so I can show you this. And so, when you're looking at the pictures, I'm going to, because I can't talk. Before the picture or with the picture, I'll describe why I'm showing you the picture, okay? Figured out how to do this narration. We shall see. This is how I started out. I had a great big stack of the white paper squares. I had a great big stack of the 4-inch fabric squares. I held the paper square up in front of the light, and I put the fabric square behind it, and I attached it with a little dab of paper glue to the center of that number 1 triangle. And I made 100 of these and then took them over to my sewing machine. In this picture, you can see that I have removed both sides of that middle triangle. So the middle brown triangle is number 1, and number 2 and number 3 are in each side of it. So at first, I was just cutting off number 2. And I thought, well, why can't I just cut off number 2 and number 3 both? And then I can just sew this on both sides without having to go back and cut it again. Now this works because this is a very simple block. If you had a whole bunch of pieces in this piece, I don't think you would be able to cut over one number at a time. Number 1 is always already there. And then you go to number 2, number 3, number 4, etc., etc., etc. Okay, here we are over at the sewing machine. You can see my scraps of fabric there where I've cut them off and left only a 1/4-inch seam allowance behind. I have folded the paper over on the line. Then I lined up my add a 1/4 little yellow ruler, bumped it up against the fold, and then I slice off what's left. Then you can see over there on the right by my sewing machine that I was only cutting one side off, And I think I showed you in the last picture how I started cutting both sides off at the beginning. And that worked just fine. This is just a close-up to show you how you fold on the line of whatever the next number is. This would be number 2. And you line up your ruler like I've shown you already, and you slice off the extra. You will be wasting fabric, but I don't know, start a box of scraps, I guess. Tiny scraps. This fold doesn't have to be perfect, because when you sew on the line, it will perfect it. Look real close through my ruler, and you'll see a little rubber Cheerio attached to the back of it. And the center of the Cheerio, there's 2 of those applied to the outer edges. This is non-scooch protection. Makes it work much better. I need to mention that what I was showing you with all of these pictures is what I did, so I was able to chain piece and just sew one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. And then I finger pressed piece number 2 side to the side and flatten it with my fingernail. Now, some of the people that show you these paper piecing tools will say, don't dare do that. I just think that's silly. It works fine. So press it with your fingernail. If you're afraid of that, go press it with your iron. And then I chain piece the other side. So you can see there's 2 sets. There's one set with blue points, and there's one set with background colored points. And it worked really well the way I did this. But whenever I make a quilt, if possible, I like to make one of the blocks, just so my brain understands this is what you're doing. And it's a good thing I did, because I screwed it up the first time. I put this color where this color was supposed to be. Totally messed it up the first time. So I've got some boo-boo blocks here. See, this was supposed to be the light color. This is what I made. Wrong, wrong, wrong. But I'm saving it because I may need that fabric for later. So, I have a picture of this, I'm sure. It's laying right here. I might not. I guess I'll take the camera off and show it to you. Hold on. All right, so this is one block. There will be sashing here, this fabric. Sashing here, here, and here. This color. So that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Okay, and remember, it's called Sand Dunes, and it's from a magazine I bought at the bookstore. I know somebody's going to ask me, so I grabbed the magazine. This is it. This is June 2023. Today is June 20-something. 25, something around there. It's not very long until July 4th. So this is it. The date on it is July, August 2023, even though this is June. And the quilt is Sand Dunes. Sand Dunes. All right. If I may direct your attention over here, my friends, to my desk and my flowers I'm trying to root so I can plant out on the front porch. I wanted to show you how I started out without just a picture. I started out with a stack of papers and a stack of 4-inch squares. You already saw a picture, but I thought I'd show you how I sat here, and I did it right here. I don't know where my glue stick went. I just used a normal, everyday glue stick. It's orange, Office Depot, I think. Fat, you know. And I just put a little, that's already got some on it. See, just a little bit of glue. And I just put just a dab. It comes off with water. It pulls off so easy. See? Are you going to have a problem removing the paper? Well, did you call that a problem? No, you're not. So I put a little dab of glue stick. They're called glue sticks. I got it now. Lightning fast mind just woke up. Okay. So then you hold your paper. You're going to have the pretty part, the writing part, the ink part looking at you. You look through the light and you take the back side of number 1 and you hold it up and you make sure through the light that it covers up the entire space, including seam allowance. And when you look through the light, you can see good enough to tell that you have that covered. Very important. So then I just glue it to the back. And here I have a whole stack. See them? Already glued. So all I have to do, now I have 2 sets of these. One set has background colors on the side of it, and one set has the ocean, the blues. Okay, so this is my next set for the opposite color. Okay, but this is all it is. It's piece number 1, covered up, all stacked up, and ready to go. Okay, now you saw the pictures good enough for the rest of it. What I want to show you now is, what about the paper? I watched several YouTube tutorials on YouTube. There's bunches and bunches of them. Every person seems to have a different way that they do it, and I'm sure my way's the next different one. Because I decided how I wanted to do it, okay? This place looks like some kind of fun house at the state fair. There's so many lights. Okay, so you have your pieces. I've sewn the blue to each side of the blue stack. I've just done one here, but I will sew the cream to each side of the other stack. Then you take a cream one and a blue one and you put them together. Paper still on. Paper still on. Okay? Now this is what I do to sew them together so the points are perfect here and here. You take a pin and you put it through the point on this side. Then you're going to have to look, pull them apart, and make sure you put the pin exactly, I've already sewn this one, the pin exactly through the other side. Now I have a tip. I was using these pins. These pins go through fine, they're pokey fine, but they're too long. And they were too tall to put in my sewing machine. I wanted to put them in like this so they would stay in, because otherwise they don't do me any good. But they were too tall and they kept hitting the presser foot. So look what I got. I don't know how it happened that I even own these, because I never ever buy short pins. But these are the cutest little pins. They're 1 inch. Let me measure them and make sure. I think they are 1 inch long. They are. They're 1 inch long, and they have tiny little heads on them. Let me compare it to my regular pins. See, there's my regular pin and the little pin. Can you see the difference? Same size head looks like, but one is very short. So what you can do is you can stick it through the 2 pieces of paper, the 2 fabrics. You can stick it through. Then it is short enough that what I do, take the long one out, is I put it under my foot, and here's the pin sticking up here, and I'll start sewing like right here in the middle. And I'll go sew, and then I'll pull this pin out because it's a short one now. And then I sew the rest of the way. Then I turn it over and I sew from where I started on the other side and sew the other way. Now I saw Carol Doak do this in a crazy way. As far as I'm concerned, she was sewing it, opening it up. If it wasn't right, she would unsew it, she would sew it again, she would open it up. My way worked great, just great. I take all the paper off. I'm not leaving this paper on any longer. You saw my block in there. I know you saw it here somewhere in this video. You saw it. This is the last thing I did. And I tore the paper off. And what you can do is you can just like jerk the paper like that. See, it's kind of fun. It really is. And pull all the paper off. Pull all the paper off. Then you don't have to ever worry about this paper again. I promise you. Now this is a simple one. This is a simple one. There may be another pattern that you may have to leave it on until the whole quilt is entirely done. I can't imagine that. But the more seams you sew on this, the tinier the pieces are going to be that you have to pull off. See? Comes off real easy, but it's still, it doesn't come off whole. Okay, see the little tiny piece left right there? Well, the more you sew, the more of those little tiny pieces you're going to have. Get you some tweezers. Tweezers are helpful. No, that's not a piece, Joy. Here's a piece here. There you go. Now you can see the little tiny piece of paper. Get some tweezers. Sit and watch TV. You'll have a whole stack of these, remember. Then you've got a block, a finished block, no more paper, and you just sew it together like normal. Let me show you this. I showed you the little picture of how I had it cut into a triangle. I sewed number 2 on, pressed it with my fingernail. Now it's ready for number 3. I take number 3, put this on the other side. See, I just don't see any reason why you wouldn't cut them both at the same time. So that you'll always sew on the lines. So that, press it open, and you got your block done. And remember this, important, important, important. When you trim these, you trim them on the ants, or line up your ruler 1/4 inch away from the solid line. Do not cut on the solid line. That's a no-no. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. Ah, our America, our America. I've been singing this all morning since I hung my quilts up. My voice isn't 100% yet, but it's a whole lot better than it was. So this is my second. You see over here, you probably can't see over here, but on my list of all the quilts I have to do, Patriotic Quilts, and there's 2 of them. You saw the eagles earlier in this video. They are all done. This is number 2. I got all of the God bless letters appliqued down yesterday with the satin stitching all around them. And my Boo Bear and Jerry were up here the other day, and I was showing them the eagles and how I had the eagles done. And then I said, oh, I have another one, you want to see it? And so I showed this to them. They saw this. This is a cutout vinyl, fireworks. And I had it down here. And I didn't know if I really was going to put the fireworks on it or not. But John and Jerry both went right to the fireworks, and they said, oh my gosh, what's that fireworks down there? And they said, you need more, you need lots of fireworks, you have to have lots of them. So both of them insisted I put lots of fireworks on here. So I guess I will. I'm working on that on the scan and cut. And my next issue is on the fireworks. This is vinyl. This is all 100% cotton fabrics. If I put the fireworks on here before I quilt it, how am I going to quilt it? Because you can't quilt into this vinyl. You can't put holes in it. So if I put the fireworks, it's going to be a custom job because I will actually quilt in between all these sparkles. So what else do I have to do, huh? I know. You got to do something. Tomorrow is Zoom day. Zoom day with my BFF Philly. And she's been quilting. We've been following Edita on her Spring Mystery 2023. And it was only 6 weeks. And we decided, remember I talked to y'all and I thought maybe we could all do it together in Zoom. And I decided I didn't like it. It has a lot of applique on it. I have a ton of applique in my life already. Philly wasn't sure if she wanted to do it because she didn't like the colors. I didn't like the colors. So we have been following it, and this is week 5. And I think I told it already to you in the first clip. So they have week 5 up. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm going to copy all of the instructions, the PDF instructions. And so if Philly and I love it when it gets all done, we will indeed make it together. Okay? I had my folder in on the ironing board, so I decided to show you the 6-week mystery quilt so far. And I have it labeled Spring Mystery 2023, and I file it under Laundry Basket Quilts. So here's what I'm talking about that you can copy. Here's week number 1. And if you look at the back of it, you can see what they did week number 1. That's supposedly leaves. That doesn't look like leaves to me, but according to Edita, those are leaves. This is week, let me see, I got them out of order. This is week number 2. Week number 2. And to me, these look like tulips, but she doesn't call them tulips. She calls them something else. See, does that not look like a tulip? So that's week number 2. And I don't know, you make half a dozen of each of these things or something. This is week 3. And week 3, what did she make? Oh, she made what she calls daisies. Well, these don't look like any daisies I ever saw, but she calls these daisies. So that's week 3. And you make, looks like you make 5 of those. And then this is week 4. And it is some kind of a flower looking thing. So that's week 4. So you see I have all the instructions printed out because when she gets through with the challenge, the instructions are going away. If you decide 100 years from now that you want to make this when you're in heaven, surely there's quilting in heaven, you'll have the directions because she's stopping the instructions, the free instructions. So tomorrow's Zoom, I asked Philly, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? She said, I don't know. She's still working on a quilt. I think she's still working on a quilt. I can't remember. So I decided I'm into 4th of July and patriotic. So I decided to cut myself out a quick, fit nice system, dolman sleeve top. And find myself a vinyl patriotic design of some denomination. Let me show you what I found. I have it pinned together front and back so I can try it on and place this thing. I already decided I want it bigger than this. This is like 6.5 by 7 or something, and I decided I want it bigger. But this is my design right there. It's as Edita calls it, a patriotic butterfly. So those of you scanning cutters, Cricut people, this comes with 4 layers. 4 different colors. They all are black. Now I had a real problem with this. These several color cutouts, SVG files, I get most of mine from Etsy. At first I got them and I would drag them over and put them in Canvas Workspace on my computer and it would just be a black blob. It would be one image and it would be completely, totally black. And I would think, oh, this didn't work. And I'd send an email to Etsy and I'd say, it's the end of the world. All I got was a bunch of black stuff and it doesn't even work. And they'd say, well, we don't understand it works for everybody else. So what I found out was all 4 colors are there. All the colors they send you are black. They're all stacked on top of each other, but each one is its separate group. The red is grouped, the blue is grouped, the white is grouped, the black is grouped, etc. And I just experimented. I thought, this is just ridiculous. I thought, maybe if I remove that whole black blob, something will be under it. Yeah, lightning fast. So I clicked on it. The little square went around it. I pushed my mouse button and held it and moved it. Aha! It moved. It was the entire solid black butterfly. And so up above where I moved it was still a solid black butterfly. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I did it again. So I clicked on it again, held my mouse in, moved it, and sure enough, the blue part of the wing with the stars moved away. It was still all black, but it moved away. Clicked on it again, and the red stripes moved away. Still all black, but obviously the black stripes were the red stripes. Then clicked on it again, or maybe what was left was the flower and the outlines. Ta-da! I was so excited I couldn't stand it. So I dashed in the other room and cut out a blouse. So I might go ahead and work on this some more today. I'm also working on the, what's it called now? See, my voice is still not good. What is it? It's the one with the blue ocean and the sand dunes. I've got the second block cut out. Do you know quilt directions? You really need to read them before you ever touch cutting out any material. You need to read them, you need to study them, you need to look at the pictures. There is a direction in there that says to cut out 12 of a certain color in 3.5-inch squares. I have searched and searched and searched and searched all the pictures. I cannot figure out where those things go. I have accounted for every other shape and every other square in the entire quilt, and there's no place for those 12 light colored sand that they tell you to cut out. There's no place for them. You don't cut them on an angle, you don't cut them on a double angle. Anyway, I cut them out and I put a clip on them. I have no idea where they're going to go. All right, my friends. Jerry's at exercise school for his arm. He's happy again. He went out in his boat. He's been out in it twice since Boo Bear and Pumpkin Pants left. And he's always buying some new contraption he sees on YouTube. And it's something that goes down in the water. You hook it to the bottom of your line, and then there's your bait or whatever, and as it goes down and you're trolling behind your boat, it sends back a message and tells you exactly how deep it is in the water. Well, he spent a lot of money for it, and the crazy thing doesn't work, and so he keeps running out each afternoon to see if he can figure out how to make it work. And yesterday he actually called the owner of the company that makes the device, and the man said, "Have you uploaded the 3 updates?" No, he had not. So he's working on that. We had such a good time. As I have to tell you something else cute that Pumpkin Pants said. Did I tell you? He said, "How come you call me Pumpkin Pants?" Jerry calls him Pumpkin. I said, "He's not a pumpkin. It has nothing to do with pumpkins. He's not a pumpkin. He's a pumpkin." It's like he always called the kid Shuggy. Well, Shuggy isn't like calling him a bowl of sugar, you know, it's just a cute name. So, man, anyway. So, Pumpkin Pants and I were sitting in the Joy living room. And he was sitting right next to me on my couch. And he has just, as kids do, just a head full of beautiful, beautiful hair. And I fluffed his hair and I said, "Oh, Luke, I wish I could trade hair with you." And he took the top of his hair and grabbed a handful of it and pulled it up and tried to pull it out of his head. He said, "Grandma, it won't come out." And I said, "Well, when you get real old, your hair starts to fall out. And it comes out real easy." And he said, "Well, we'll trade hair then." Snuggie that boy. Snuggie him, snuggie him. I can still snuggie his daddy, believe it or not. I can hug that boy whenever I want to. He comes up and hugs me. I tell you, oh, please, Lord, let this stay the same and not change, like everything else has in my life regarding children. I've got Zoom tomorrow and Friday. The mattress company, oh, get this. I think I told y'all, we went and we bought a new mattress for me. Jerry and I have 2 single mattresses on top of a king bed. We've had it 7 years. It's supposed to be guaranteed for 20. Also, I haven't been able to sleep. I thought it was uncomfortable. Jerry said, let's go get you a new mattress. We went and got me a new mattress, $3,500. They said, oh, you can sleep on it 120 nights. If you don't like it, we'll let you change. A couple weeks later, they delivered this mattress. We kept my mattress, took it down the hall and put it on another bed. Just laid it on top of it. And I slept on that mattress the first night. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Felt like I was sleeping on rocks. Jerry said, well, goodness, that's just the first night. Try again. So I slept on it the second night. It was just as horrible as the first night. And I couldn't even elevate it. It was just, the more it was elevated, the worse it felt. I did not like it at all. So the third day, I called the place down there. I said, I hate this bed. I don't want it. They said, well, you can come pick another one. I said, I don't want to pick another one. I said, can't I just return this? They said, well, there's a restocking fee. I said, how much is the restocking fee? 20%. All right, take 20% of $3,500. Can you figure that in your head? It's a lot. I said, that's absurd. That is absolutely ridiculous. I said, that can't even be legal. He said, well, there is a limit. They said, it's 20% or $500, whichever's less. So for me, $500. So, but he said, if you come get another bed, then you won't have to pay that. Well, I told Jerry, I said, I go get another bed, it's just as horrible. Number one, this has happened to me several times in this mattress business. The one you lay on at the store never feels the same as the one that they bring you to your house. So, I told Jerry I don't want to mess with it anymore. I said, I'll just sleep on this one. It's way more comfortable than that one, and it's paid for. So, took it off the bed. Now, mind you, I did sleep in it one more time, just as bad. After he said 120 nights. I slept in it one more time. I said, I can't sleep in it another 1 minute. So Jerry and I took it off the bed, moved it into another room. It's still covered with the protective fitted sheet, and it's just sitting there. It's just sitting there in the living room on the carpet. I told him, I said, this thing is newer than new. I said, not one cell of my body has touched this mattress. It was covered with the protective mattress cover. It was covered with a fitted sheet, and I had pajamas on. And I said, it's just ridiculous that this has to go someplace and be sanitized and given to the poor. I don't think they even try to sell them again. God, what a waste of my money. So I said, I'm done with the mattress adventure. Forget it. So I called him, though, coming Friday to pick up the mattress. Oh, but, let me tell you what they did. You know, when you go buy a mattress, they always say, you get $300 of free stuff. Oh, what's that? Well, you can either have a set of sheets or a pillow. A pillow's $300, really. And then the cover. The cover is cheap piece of junk, let me tell you. Cheap, thin, the fitted sheet cover. And I don't like the pillow. However, it was good for pumpkin pants. It's a real, you know, usually they're thick and they're hard. This one was actually, it squishes down a lot. And so I let pumpkin pants use it. But he said, oh, ma'am, go ahead and keep the free pillow. The free pillow, you mean that I just spent $500 for? That free pillow? Yes, ma'am. And the cover on the bed, the fitted sheet. So, I mean, isn't life just nuts? But thank God for all the good stuff. Thank God He never leaves us or forsakes us. And God bless America.